Hey everybody, welcome back to the Couple That Slays Together. I'm Brandon, obviously just one member of the podcast slash YouTube channel. I want to pop on here real quick before we get going on this episode. I know that we've been gone for several months. To be honest with you, this has been a pretty tough year for both Katie and myself with the accident. We got hit by a drunk driver this past Thanksgiving, and so we've been dealing with a lot of that. Katie had to get major reconstructive surgery on her spine, some spinal surgery, spinal fusion surgery, and then, I've been busy with conventions and such, and just doing whatever I can to stay busy. So it got to be a pretty crazy busy summer, and honestly, a lot of it has been me just lacking on editing and everything. So I do apologize for that, but we are hard working on improving the studio and working on content to get out there for this fall. So the episodes that you're about to see were actually pre-recorded. They were recorded in April, around that time. So if you see the news headlines that we read about in these episodes, they are extremely old. Obviously, some of those trailers that we talked about, some of the movies have already come out and everything. So we do apologize for the delay, but wanted to let you know that we are coming at you with these 8 episodes. There's 4 minisodes and 4 regular review episodes. So enjoy these while they're out or while we get them edited and put out. So the other thing that I wanted to let you guys know on as an update, we have a prototype here. So my friends who have 3D printers, I commissioned them to do these little shelving units for us to go above our library here. We're going to take off all of these Funkos, boxes and everything. And what you're going to see now behind us is going to be something like this. There are going to be 8 of these little stacks that I designed with my best friend, Mike Davis. Shout out to Mike Davis for helping me out, and Mark Enstrom for printing, assisting in printing as well. So, but the bottom 2 rows, as you can see, like the bottom row and then the actual surface of the shelving will be Funko Pops. They'll be stacked like that, kind of yearbook style, if you will. And then the top 2 rows will be our NECA statues. So we will have those up there. Now, obviously, there's going to be some oddly shaped ones like Jaws and the Elvira Funko and such. So we'll make room for those. But just want to give you guys a little heads up on what's been going on with us. And yeah, enjoy this episode. And we will see you back with new episodes very, very soon.
They walk through the night hand in hand, a Bonnie and Clyde in a shadowland. They've got fire, they've got style, they make chaos look worthwhile. Partners in crime, heartbeats aligned, together they're one of a kind. They're the couple that slays together, storming the world, it's now or never. Back to back through thick and thin, in the game of life they always win. Blazing trails, leaving legends behind. Love so fierce, it's one of a kind. We're the couple that slays together.
Hey guys, welcome to the Couple That Slays Together. I am Brandon.
And I am Katie. And this is our second mini-isode. And this is the first mini-isode that we're going to review a psychological thriller book that I read.
Yeah, so to be honest, I'm as much of a book reader as I would love to be. I'm not. I attempt to read books. I don't finish them. I fall asleep because my eyes are moving so fast. I get tired and I just fall asleep right in the book. I've tried it on iPads, which are a little bit more successful. I can do comic books on an iPad, but I'm just not a big book guy. I want to be. I'm not stupid. I can read a book. I don't. I just don't have a lot of read. Well, I don't have a lot of time. I don't have a lot of patience. That, and it's like, I want to be able to read a book like in silence, like, because when I'm in a book, I'm in the book.
Right.
Like I escape to the book. If I'm sitting here watching a book and I've got like an episode of a reality show on, or I don't watch reality TV, but like the story will kind of blend into my head, and I'm like, I gotta have complete silence.
Yeah.
So
I used to read a lot growing up. In fact, we would do like the library I forget what they're called, but it was like a library program where you would like earn points and like turn in points, and you got free Pizza Hut or Dairy Queen, or we went to baseball games locally and everything. But I hadn't really like finished a book in a very long time either.
We used to have those scholastic book fairs at school.
Yeah, yep. And one of the big things that got me into horror was R.L. Stine, Goosebumps, Fear Street, all of that. As we discussed, in our introduction episode, I used to have really bad night terrors, and it's something that really helped me get through that. But as I've gotten older, life gets in the way, and
Yep.
it gets harder to be able to have those moments where you can sit down and focus on a book.
Yeah. Well, I used to read books when I was a kid too. I used to have more time for it. I was still just a kid in my room. I didn't have responsibilities like
Right.
being the head of a household, not trying to sound like a whatever macho man or whatever. But
Husband, yeah.
yeah, I mean, but we're both
Husband, full-time job.
co-heads of this household, and we
Yeah.
get busy. So yeah, but I go to cons, I do these things. You read books, so
Well, it's not like that, but
well.
yeah.
What I'm saying is like we also have priorities in our hobbies. What I
Right,
mean,
right. Well, I've made it a priority for myself
yeah,
this year. I don't like to say New Year's resolutions because to me, it feels kind of cliche, and it feels like, I don't know, how many resolutions do people really keep?
right.
But I just kind of set a goal for myself. I found this app called Goodreads.
Yeah.
Highly recommend it. You can go through and follow your favorite authors. They do giveaways, which I haven't won one yet, but I wish I could. Um, and they have where you can set yourself like reading challenges.
Oh, fun.
So I set one book a month for the year of 2025.
Nice.
So that would be 12 books. It is mid-April right now, and I just finished book 18.
Hey.
So I've upped my goal to 24, but I feel like I'm going to up that even more. I will say this. I include on my Goodreads everything I listen to on Audible as well.
Mhm.
So I work in an office about an hour-ish away, 2 days a week. So that's 4 hours a week that at least 4 hours a week that I have that I can devote to listening to a book on Audible.
Yeah.
And then while I'm at work, I am so thankful for where I work now. I love it very much. It's a pretty quiet office.
Yeah.
And outside of doing dictation for my attorney, while I'm working on other things like time entries and such, I can have my AirPods in and be listening as well. So all those things have kind of helped me with being able to listen more on Audible.
Well, and I think that's part of my issue too. Is I don't give myself free time.
Right.
Like if it's
You've got to fill it with something.
well, but also like there's people waiting on artwork. There's
Right.
there's my responsibility as working with the conventions and getting people in cons. And it's like
Yeah.
it's one of those things where it's like I almost feel guilty if I'm just sitting there reading a book because it's like when you can watch TV and do other things while you're watching TV, you can't really do that with a book. You can listen to a book while doing other things, but
Right.
you're only kind of half paying attention. Maybe you don't have the visual aids.
Right.
And again, I'm not against reading books. I don't think I'm just not a reader, and you know what I'm talking about. There are people
No.
who are readers and there are people who aren't, and I'm not.
And like I said, for years I wasn't. But one of the things I kind of treated myself with was that I got myself a Kindle.
Mhm.
And honestly, it seems odd if you're not uh, familiar with a Kindle. It's an e-reader, right? It's like a tablet, but it's specifically just for reading. There's not apps and things like that.
Yep.
But you download books, or like on Kindle Unlimited is pretty nice. It's like a monthly fee, but you get a ton of books that you can put on there basically for free, but you've paid for a monthly subscription. I have found that for whatever reason, good, bad, ugly, I don't know, read better and comprehend better on the Kindle. And I don't know if that's just I'm so used to the phone in my hand versus when I was a kid and it was paper. You live with me. I've got a ton of hardback, paperback books. And some of them are copies of things that I've already listened to on Audible and loved,
Yeah.
and I wanted them.
The physical media of it.
The physical media of what I loved. But to just sit down and I try to do at least a chapter or two a day. And if you're familiar with Freida McFadden, which is the author of the book I'll be telling Brandon and all of you about today, um, she is really good about making short chapters.
Yeah.
So you feel like you're really accomplished by, like, I've done so many chapters, but she's fast paced. She's so far the books that I've read and listened to from her, each chapter kind of has a different character's point of view. Um,
Well, to add to what you were saying before you get
yeah.
into it, um, I think it's the perfect storm because, we have screens, right?
Mhm.
And screens, I know they're looked at as bad or whatever. You
Yeah.
get your screen time warning on your phone. It's like, you've been on your phone for 10 hours a day, blah, blah, blah. But it's like the Kindle, it's perfect because you get the lighting of the screen to kind of keep your eyes like this on it electronically, feeding that
Mhm.
into your head. But then you've got the page white effect on it
Right.
where it's like a book. So
So
it's
yeah.
again, it's almost the perfect storm of the two
Yeah.
to where you can successfully read a book fast and, finish it.
Yeah. And I do like there's on the Kindle, there's a specific type of font. It's called dyslexic something, which I find interesting. I think it is supposed to help those with dyslexia. But for me, putting that font on has made it easier to read than like your Times New Roman font.
Yep.
Um so all of those things kind of said, um I so far have surpassed my goal. Um I'm on track to surpass my second goal. I really have gotten into some Freida McFadden books, these thriller books. Um, I'm currently reading right now The Teacher, which is really good. Next up, I'm going to be doing The Crash. But I finished Ward D, and I have also finished Do Not Disturb, which we'll do a mini episode on that one at some point soon. But today, speaking about Ward D, um, brief just general overview for you. Um, yeah, the main character is Amy, and she's a med student. And as part of her medical school training, they have to go through different rotations in different medical um what, departments. And where she is going in the book is to the psych ward.
Yep.
And part of that rotation is at least one overnight in the psych ward locked down. So,
Like as a worker or a patient?
as a worker,
Okay.
as a worker. So she shows up and finds out that there's only one code to get in and out of the one door that's on the entire ward, Ward D. She also discovers that while she's there, her cell phone does not work at all. She has a friend that has done this rotation before and warns her that the only way to get your cell phone to work is if you go to the break room and literally put your phone up against a window, and then you'll maybe get a bar or two. So really there's no quick outside, hey, help me, right?
Yeah.
Then if you can imagine our poor main person, and I'm bringing out my phone if you're watching just because I've got the names and things written down. Um, she finds out that the other med student that's doing the same rotation that's locked in all night with her is her ex-boyfriend.
Oh, lovely.
Yeah. His name is Cameron. And basically he gives her a poor excuse for a breakup and says that he needs to focus more on school. She's a distraction.
So they've broken up prior to this.
Prior
What
to
was her
this.
name again?
Her name is Amy.
Okay, thank you.
His name is Cameron. And she really liked him and thought that he really liked her. But he basically was like, look, I want to be a doctor. You're a distraction. We can't do this.
So how long between the breakup and this, what was the time?
6 months or less. And they were together like over a year.
Okay.
So on top of that, there's like an onion of being stuck in Ward D. You've got 2 med students in this rotation, and they only have one doctor, and that is Dr. Richard Beck. So if anything happens, he's the only one in charge. And there's one administrative person, and she's not a mean person, but she's just your kind of like typical stereotypical front desk admin person who's been doing this for 20 years, seen it all, whatever. I know my routine. So here she is, stuck, locked in. She has a code that is supposed to work. That if she needed to, and she'd probably get in trouble, she could leave. There are, of course, other patients. There's my favorite character is Spider Dan. His name is literally Dan, and he dresses like Spider-Man, and he's got schizophrenia and delusions, but he really does think that he is Spider-Man. Like, he's there to save everybody. And I apologize. The front desk nurse that's in charge, her name's Ramona. And then one of the other patients is Will. And Amy meets another patient on the floor named Jade. Now, Jade is someone that Amy has also already known.
Yep.
They grew up together. They were best friends together. They went through school together. Jade is one that kind of is an uninhibited person. She's the one that will like steal the test from the teacher's desk so that they can pass the test together.
Yep.
Jade doesn't have the greatest of home lives. A lot of issues, substance issues, things like that. Amy kind of comes from your typical middle class. So throughout the book, you were kind of time jumping in a way. You're learning more about Jade. You're learning more about Amy. But Amy is there to get this night done with. She knows she doesn't want to go into psychiatry of any way, shape, or form, but she wants to do what she's there to do. So she's supposed to interview patients, report back if she finds anything, yada, yada. Well, she's told about one particular inmate that threatened the entire ward that he was going to them all that night before the morning. And so prior to Amy's arrival, they have tied him down on the gurney, they strapped him down, and locked him in this room. So she's already been warned. He's in there. He's down for the night. He's sedated. He's made these threats. The other patients are kind of upset about it, but nothing's going to happen. He's in there. He's fine. Well, while Amy is doing her rounds, she starts hearing banging on that door from inside and yelling, "Let me out, let me out." So, like any responsible person, she goes directly to the doctor, right? And says, "Hey, I think he got out of whatever restraints. I don't think he's sedated anymore. He's being very loud. He's screaming about letting him out." By the time Ramona and the doctor, so the head nurse and the doctor, get to that area, there's no more yelling. There's no more screaming. There's no more pounding. There's no more anything. And Amy is kind of like, "Well, open the door and check on him, right?" Well, they refuse. They say, no, we've sedated him. You're tired, right? You're not used to a third shift overnight thing. So Amy goes about her business, and, she's trying to juggle this ex-best friend who's now in a psych ward and this ex-boyfriend who's also there. When suddenly she starts seeing blood on the floor coming from underneath the door that was just the patient that was saying he was going to kill everyone. So what does she do? "Hey, nurse. Hey, doctor. Look what's on the floor. There's obviously something wrong with this patient." By the time she gets them back over there, there's no blood on the floor. All of a sudden, all of the electricity goes. So it's pitch dark. There's no way to know what's around you. You're in a lockdown, no way out scenario, right? So immediately, all of the staff goes, "We have to man the doors because if the electricity's off, it's not locked anymore." As the lights come back on, one of the fellow patients is covered in what looks like blood coming out at them, charging at them. Turns out it was ketchup, thank God, and gets it all over the place. But at first, Amy says, see, look, there's blood. And now they said, no, it's ketchup. We got him cleaned up. He's done this before. It's part of everything. So there's some small other things that have gone on.
Is the power back on at that point?
The power comes back on shortly thereafter, and then that's when they're able to sedate this other patient. And when the power gets back on and they're working with this gentleman, Amy finds out that Cameron's now gone. No one knows where Cameron is, which is her ex-boyfriend, the other med student. So he's not a patient. Technically speaking, he's just as sane as she is, right? She can't find him. And the main doctor, Dr. Beck, and Ramona are like, it's fine, don't worry about it. You know, he's probably just interviewing like you should be doing, right?
Now, midway through the story, I'm either thinking two things.
Yep.
One, they're fucking with her. Or two, she's actually crazy.
Could be. Well, one of the things that I haven't told you about Amy is that when Amy was younger and was still friends with Jade, whenever Amy got stressed out, she'd see a little girl that wasn't there. Amy has never told anyone else other than Jade, who's now a patient, and her mother growing up. So Amy has already been treated for levels of schizophrenia. So that's one of the things that you're led to believe is like, well, obviously, maybe she didn't see the blood. Maybe she didn't hear the pounding on the door. As the night progresses, Amy kind of switches from interviewing Spider Dan and a few of the other patients to interviewing Will. Now, Will has a room completely filled with books. He's an avid reader. He loves reading. And he strikes Amy as someone who's way more sane than a psych patient should be, right? Will confides in Amy that he is not really a patient. He's actually a local news reporter. And he's there undercover because he's heard reports of mistreatment of patients, i.e., tying them to a gurney, putting them into a locked room, and then leaving them alone until the next day. So he's saying to Amy, I'm not really crazy. And she's going, well, you don't seem crazy to me either. And he is explaining that this is why I'm here. I'm here voluntarily. They think I'm truly a patient, but I'm not. Well, that kind of throws Amy for a loop. Do you believe a psych patient telling you that they're not crazy? Or do you say, sure, buddy, but don't believe him?
This is like the perfect story setup for like an anthology series, like American Horror Story, Tales from the Crypt, Masters of Horror, all these, it could be one of those.
Yeah, I definitely cause obviously I don't sit and read cover to cover. So I've read chapters here and there, and I've kind of felt the same way. Like, this is like this week's episode. Like, which one's the crazy one? You know? So Amy decides that she's going to look into Will. And she has different files that are physical files, obviously, but there are also on the computer, right? But the computer's not up back and running yet since the power outage. So she's kind of reading what she can through the different files. And she purposely is like, I'm not going to look at Jade's. I'm not going to interview her. That's not ethical. I'm only going to be looking at the patients that I've already interviewed. And then I want to do the deep dive on Will, because could it be that he's made up this scenario, that he's made up that he is a reporter? And her distrust for everybody is like level 10, right? Who's really telling me the truth? Am I really freaking out? She's also said to herself, like, I don't want to get so stressed out I see that little girl again. That's not going to work for me. So she starts reading through Will's profile. But of course, it starts nagging her to know about the gentleman that is locked up. Because every person that she's interviewed has talked about Damon.
Yeah.
and what he threatened, and he upset everybody, right? So she's looking into that file, and it turns out that Damon was like a bank robber. And I don't know, I can't remember honestly I think they may have killed someone in a bank robbery, but you find out that he is there with a girlfriend. So they both were committing crimes. They both really shouldn't be on the same ward, right? But for right now, they're basically holding in the psych ward, being tested to see if they can be criminally charged or not.
Let's say that sounds, and this might be because plot suspension of
Right.
disbelief, like they don't need to be there.
Right. And you would also think that
Fuck them, Daniel. Like they're arrested.
right. You would and I'm going to be honest with you guys, it's been a little while since I read it, so I don't remember if there's a specific detail I'm forgetting, but you would also think that they would separate.
Right.
Even if you were male and male, female and female, yeah, they would separate because you were partners in this crime. But
Yeah.
I don't know if it's small town or that's the only thing that they have. But this is what she finds out, is that Damon's robbed banks. There's someone that's been killed. They're being tried for being criminally insane. And there is a girlfriend on this ward. So there's a few different suspects, right, of who this girlfriend could be. One of the number one things that Amy is contemplating, is that it's Ramona, the nurse. Because she's the first one to be like, Amy, stop it. There's no blood.
Yeah.
Amy, stop it. No one was hitting on the door.
Yeah.
So, of course, Amy gets very suspicious of Ramona. But each and every time that anything kind of suspicious is happening, she's kind of more and more cut Ramona off and gone and talked to Dr. Beck.
Yep.
Because that's who I can trust, right? He's the main person in charge. And mind you, we have a missing person now too with Cameron.
Yep.
As the night progresses, more and more just kind of nitpicky things happen between Amy and Jade. Jade is basically calling her out and saying, well, I'm here, but you were the one seeing little girls, right? You were the one stressed out about a little girl. And
that's tough too, because, I've got family members and friends who are schizophrenic, and I know that there's medication for those kind of things. So,
yep. As the night progresses, she's hearing more and more doors creaking, distant voices echoing in footsteps. She's getting more and more paranoid. Every little thing then is, what's going on? Why isn't anyone care to find Cameron? Cameron's been gone. Basically, what ends up happening is a final kind of showdown where Amy stands her ground against Jade. And Amy has gone ahead and believed Will and said, okay, I think you're being truthful here, that you are a reporter, that you can help me out. Cameron is missing. They had one patient that had an outburst, and she saw how quickly they sedated her. And Amy was kind of afraid that that's just what's going to happen to her, because more and more things are happening, and that they're not going to find Cameron. Well, it comes to a head when Jade brings up the story about how Amy and Jade actually kidnapped their teacher in high school. So on top of stealing a test and everything, Jade kidnapped a teacher, strapped him into a chair, and demanded that he pass Amy because Amy is so smart and she's got a brighter future. So Jade, of course, is this, she's the patient on the psych ward. She's saying, you owe me everything. Like, I did this for you. And the big twist, the big aha moment is that you find out that Damon Sawyer is not in that room. He's not the person that's been on the gurney. He's not locked in. And Damon Sawyer is actually Dr. Beck.
Hmm.
So prior to Amy's arrival, Jade is Damon's girlfriend, and they have taken over the entire ward
Hmm.
and put the fear of God into the entire ward. And who they had strapped and sedated was actually the real Dr. Beck.
Hmm.
And what she heard was true. He really was pounding on the door trying to get someone to help him. And when she reported them, they kind of, oh, it's okay, move on. And again, Ramona isn't necessarily like a partner with them, but she's just like, oh, well, this is the doctor.
Mm-hmm.
So when they ushered her away, they actually went in and killed the real doctor. So she really did see the blood on the floor. And it all comes to a head where Amy and Jade and Will and Damon have to basically fight for their own lives.
Now, is Willow actually a reporter?
Will is 100% a reporter. So it ends with that's what I have to look up really quick.
I'll make up my own ending. Spider-Dan comes in and beats the crap out of all.
Actually, Spider-Dan saves the day.
Huh.
He is, while this like 4-way fight is going on, Spider-Dan swings in and
what, bed sheets?
he thinks he swings in, I guess I should say. Damon is revealed to actually be Dr. Beck, and he, along with another patient, which we find out it was Jade, have been killing all of the real staff members. So this creates a dangerous and obviously unpredictable environment when then you have other patients who are scared of them because they've seen what they've done. So Amy, with the help of Will and Spider-Dan, manages to expose the truth about Damon and Jade's plan. They are able to prevent the escape and ensure that Jade and Damon remain in the facilities for the rest of their lives. So Amy's successful escape from Ward D, having overcome the challenges and revealing the truth about the ward, the end is described as satisfying, leaving the reader with a sense of resolution. So basically, at the end, they are right at the cusp of the next shift coming in, right? When they finally get down to business and get to arguing and physically fighting, Spider-Dan ends up helping. They hold them down. They get the main staff in and explain what's been going on. And that's the other thing. They finally do open up the door to that main room where you thought Damon was there, but it's actually Dr. Beck. And unfortunately, Cameron has been killed as well.
Mm.
So there's a nurse, Dr. Beck, and Cameron have all been put into that room. And the second twist, you find out at the very end that Jade was basically drugging Amy when they were younger with LSD.
Hmm.
So this whole super stressed out, she didn't realize that her own friend was calming her down with drugs, and it was causing her to have hallucinations. So the resolution basically is Amy survived the night, thank God, and she is able to also resolve the fact that she was never schizophrenic and that Jade is a terrible person.
That's fair. So,
Yeah.
Judging by basically, if I may,
Yeah.
what you told me about this, sounds cool. Sounds like an episode that I would watch on like American Horror Stories or Black Mirror or something like that. Twilight Zone, whatever. But I got issues.
So do I.
Well, there's some plot holes.
Absolutely.
So I'm looking at this like, okay, it's a psych ward.
Right.
There would be big beefy dudes in there to take this dude down. I'm sorry. I know that.
Overnight,
Yeah.
over a night, I would think, yes, you'd have at least one person, right?
I think you'd have more because that's when escapes are planned anyway. You got to have extra security.
You'd think, yeah.
During the day, you got cameras, you got the stuff that can stop people, whatever. At night, it's harder to see somebody, so you probably have extra security detail.
Mm-hmm.
My second issue is, wouldn't you think that Jade, like when she's coming to work there, wouldn't you think she'd
Amy.
say to this? No, Well, right. So wouldn't you say, wouldn't you think that Jade, because like I said, they've already got this kind of diabolical plan, they've already taken over a lot of it. Wouldn't you think they would say, "Oh shit, Amy's working here. We can't do this right now," or "We got to get, because
Yeah.
she might fuck everything up." Like, I don't know. I just feel like that's a little bit of a stretch for me. But all in all,
Yeah.
sounds like a decent book. Sounds like a
Yeah.
fun book.
I mean, it was a page turner where you wanted to know what was happening next.
Now, is this an anthology book series? Like, will we see Amy again in another book? So it is an
No.
anthology book series.
No, they're standalone.
That's what I mean. So, like, when you say anthology show, like Twilight Zone, Black Mirror,
Yeah.
all those, it's one and done episode.
Okay.
Yeah, like VHS and All Hallows Eve, those are anthology movies because they have little.
So as far as I know, all of Frida books are standalone.
Gotcha.
But when you're reading this, it can feel like the chapters
Yeah,
are like another episode, another, like
gotcha.
this is the first book of Freida McFadden that I completely read. I later, like I said, I completely read through Do Not Disturb, and I'm in the middle-ish of The Teacher right now. So far, The Teacher has been the most interesting, but I am a little leery. Of course, this is an opinion and a review show, so I'm allowed to say my opinion. I feel like Freida McFadden is very good at setting up a narrative, but then when it comes to the resolution is a little watered down.
Yeah.
Because the resolution to Ward D, honestly, like you saw, I had to kind of look it up to remember exactly how it went down. And then when you said Spider-Dan, I was like, that is true. Spider-Dan did show up and ended up helping like hold them until they could come. It just was one of those like the twist was really interesting because the entire time you're like, okay, so if Damon is locked in the room, who's the girlfriend, who's the accomplice? Is it Jade? Is it Ramona? And kind of going back and forth. It was a cool twist to realize that Damon was actually Dr. Beck because the entire time she's going back and saying, hey, she's helping them basically without knowing that she is.
Yep.
It was kind of wah, wah, in a way of just like restraining them until the next shift comes up.
Well, we won't make this like a thing like our episodes, but
Right.
just out of curiosity,
Like, what's my grade?
yeah, what's your grade? What's your letter grade, number grade, your stars, and your reread value?
Yeah, definitely not a reread.
Okay.
I, I don't know. I say definitely not. Who knows? Maybe one day, but not.
You're unlikely.
Yeah, very, very much unlikely that I would. I would give it like a 2.5 out of 5 stars.
Okay.
I'd give it a solid C minus.
Okay.
And then what do I want to give it? Like a 6.5 for that.
So kind of right in the middle, but more on the negative side.
Yeah. It's a really good build up. But then when you go to the resolution, it's just kind of like, and we're done. Do Not Disturb is a similar kind of feeling. I really liked the buildup. It really had me going. I wanted to know what the next thing was. And then it was like, and we didn't know how to resolve it. And I'm curious if anyone else out there that knows Freida McFadden books, if you've kind of felt the same way. She is a very well-known psychological thriller author. She's really popular right now. A lot of friends are reading different books of her. She's got so many. But yeah, that's Ward Z. I mean, it was good, but it could have been better.
Yeah.
I really did like some of the I like some of the descriptions of the patients because it wasn't just, oh, they're a vegetable or, oh, they're so sedated they don't know what's going on. There was what's it like outside for you? What brought you here? There was some depth into that gave a lot of humanity to a psych ward that I think is an underrepresented audience. You think psych ward and you have kind of negative thoughts in your head. But again, I didn't like that Amy and Cameron didn't get to really have any kind of like resolution because they had some back and forth where they both kind of liked each other, missed each other, but hey, you made your choice, and then all of a sudden he's gone, right? And from what I really remember, we didn't really know that Cameron was maybe on to them or anything. Like, what was the point in Cameron
Right.
being killed? That was kind of a weak point for me. But yeah, I think that to your point, I think it would make a cool American Horror Stories, like a mini
Creep show, something like that.
something like that. I think it would do really well with that.
Now, I'll say this. This is nothing actually to do with the story, but kind of.
Yeah.
There are episodes of so there's an episode of Smallville, there's an episode of Buffy the Vampire Slayer, episode of Supernatural, where the characters get either it's a demon or actually most of the time, it's a demon or a monster. Like they take them into a reality of reality where it's like they're not the hero anymore.
Right.
Like they're in a psych ward. Buffy did it, Smallville did it, Supernatural did it with a genie, and Dean was imagining being home with his family. Remember that episode?
Right.
Like none of the demon stuff ever happened, and that he was actually kind of crazy. So
Right.
it'd be kind of interesting if one of these stories started in the psych ward like that, but then the character wakes up and they're, I'm actually a superhero, or something.
Yeah.
It'd be kind of weird if they started you in that kind of because Buffy, it happens to her again. Like I said, she gets hit by something I can't remember, but then she's in a psych ward and her parents are there. She's like, Buffy, you're not the Slayer. Same thing with Smallville. It's like Clark, you're not from another planet. You're actually, and he's seeing all these elements around. Like Jor-El, his father, is actually a soap.
Yeah.
And then Oliver Queen is the employee of the month, Green Arrow. So it's it'd be kind of funny if one of these stories that you read like that, the twist was that, they started in the psych ward, all this stuff. And, again, at the end of it, you realize, they're not actually there. They wake up and they're.
Well, that was honestly one of my thoughts going through as well when you're kind of doing the time hopping.
Yeah.
And you find out that she had seen a little girl and that she had been tested and treated for schizophrenia. You're like, well, maybe she's not really a med student at all.
Right.
Maybe the start of having a roommate and getting dropped off at the ward and all this stuff was a delusion, right?
Yep.
And in all honesty, kind of if you would have went that way, it may have been a stronger story.
Maybe.
My humble opinion on the situation is it's a great summary to hook someone into the story, to think, what if I was Amy and I was a med student and I was locked in a psych ward where I'm already uncomfortable. And then you add that my ex-boyfriend's there. Great. And then you add that an ex-best friend who I've had this falling out with, and that I've got a, criminal kind of past. We kidnapped a teacher to get me to pass a grade.
And I haven't read the book, but you telling me that, it kind of seems more like Jade kidnapped the teacher.
Yes. And
she was kind of a bystander of, what the fuck are you doing?
Exactly.
So I wouldn't even accuse her of kidnapping the teacher. I would,
But as Amy, you're kind of like, I know this ex-friend and that's what she's capable of, right? There's a lot of layers that have a really good setup. I kind of wanted a little bit more. Yeah. It's kind of like when you're, you go to eat something yummy and you're like, still needs a little bit more salt. Still needs a little bit more spice.
Yeah. What if after this, you wake up and you realize you're not married to me and you're not a podcaster and you're in a psych ward?
Woohoo!
I get the good drugs today.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Let's go for it. Take a nap.
Right.
No, so anyway, guys, I would love to know if you have read Ward D or any of the other Freida McFadden books. I'd love to know your opinion, your thoughts, your grades. Feel free to comment, subscribe. All these things are free.
Yeah. Check us out on our social media, guys. We've got everything pretty much. I'll throw it up here, but we got Facebook. We got a Facebook group. We got X, formerly Twitter, Instagram, Threads, Bluesky, which I'm horrible about using. Did I say Instagram already?
Well,
probably.
Bluesky's been kind of a jerk, so
Yeah.
I don't even know if we should stay on that.
We're primarily on Instagram and Facebook and YouTube and TikTok
I do
too.
the TikTok stuff.
Yeah,
So.
I can't stand TikTok. She does it. So, but anyway, you can always email us at thecouplethatslays@gmail.com. Feel free to drop us a line. Send us a comment. Send us something you'd like to see us do, whether it's a review, an interview, or a minisode like this. And we just really thank you guys for being here.
And soon we'll be doing a minisode on Do Not Disturb by Freida McFadden, because that is the next thriller book that I finished.
Yeah. All right.
So until next time, enjoy the horror.
Bye.
We're the couple that slays together.